Another morning, another reminder that we lost to some gun-toting illiterate Americans 2 centuries ago, and somehow played second fiddle to them for every major conflict in the latter half of the last century. I need something to distract myself. Wait, what's this?
They're not unlimited. Right now you can't go out and buy an automatic weapon. You can't go out and buy a cannon. And for those brave right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent and safe, if you want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. You need something a little more than a gun.
Wait, is Biden's response to guns being necessary to stop government tyranny is that advanced military weaponry is enough to squash a rebellion with just guns? Well, this is a common talking point of those who laugh at the notion that the Second Amendment is a check on the government. Regardless, in an event of an armed revolution, the military would have a pretty hard time putting one down. While a tank or a fighter plane would be a safe bet against a few Americans with guns, using it on domestic soil is pretty risky. Now, using such weaponized vehicles or transport against a few armed revolutionaries is usually considered excessive force, and we all know excessive force by the American government isn't exactly all the rage right now. So let's set up our scenario by having the armed revolutionaries a large part of the American population. This is realistic and very possible, as America has many veterans with significant experience in combat and access to weaponry, and a rather enthusiastic gun culture. Not to mention that 32% of American adults are gun owners, and that there's 120.5 arms per 100 US residents. If a large proportion of Americans do revolt, this can justify such weaponized modes of transport. But even then, factoring such a large population means a lot of them live in cities and suburbs. Using these powerful weapons in such locations would mean a lot of unnecessary civilian casualties and large-scale property damage. Sure, more right-wing Americans with a greater propensity to rebel in this political climate often live in less dense rural areas, but F-15s are less effective in more spread out areas. It's much more cost effective to use an F-15 in extremely dense cities with multiple rebels in one location than in rural areas where you have to bomb a Qanon-obsessed rebel in some lone ranch. A lot of these arguments were provided to me by John Claymore. Please check out his more detailed video on the issue below and sub to his channel, as he posts much more regularly than me, but a lot of insightful commentary. Anyways, speaking of cost, another reason to be hesitant to attack your own citizens or to use such advanced weaponry is that you're fighting your own tax base. Revolutionaries aren't in a hurry to pay their taxes to the government they're trying to overthrow or keep in check. If the rebellious population is large enough, the American government is screwed, since tanks and F-15s aren't cheap and were already in a ton of debt before COVID. Heck, even F-15s bombing their own homes might hurt financially due to lost property tax revenue. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, maybe give a like to boost the video in the algorithm.
No, I'm not joking.
And America suffers each time you won.
Think about this. Think about the rationale that's used to provide this. And who are they shooting at? Shooting at these guys behind me.
Again, numbers are a factor, and may include experienced veterans as the opposition. Also, in a very ideologically infused conflict, you may get mass defections to the other side, especially if the revolutionaries are more right-wing, since a significant portion of the military is right-wing. Besides, apparently according to you guys, a bunch of unarmed Trump and QAnon fanatics were dangerous enough to threaten America's entire democracy when they went to the Capitol. So clearly, you guys aren't confident about your own security. Now, it was still wrong, and the worst case scenario could have sadly led to the deaths of some important representatives. But even then, America's democratic system would not have been lost, and only slightly undermined. And if you're still not convinced, revolutionaries can gain further support from the populace by hiding amongst them and deploying guerrilla warfare tactics such as hit and run. This can unintentionally provoke hostility from the local population if the military/police become too forceful, which increases support for gun-toting rebels. A similar phenomenon occurred in the Vietnam War, and the combination of these tactics meant it was extremely costly for the US military to kill each individual Viet Cong fighter on average. Some estimate that it costed $168,000, while others claim $200,000. Now, while I am explaining these tactics, I am not endorsing a civil war or revolution, nor do I think Biden or the Democrats are stupid or malicious enough to do something to justify it. America needs to chill and stop calling each other fascists 24/7. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give a like and comment, as it really helps my video in the YouTube algorithm, and if you like economics and political commentary, consider subscribing. Maybe follow me on my Twitter, and see you later.